Support everything we do at MWP News by visiting ko-fi.com/MWP News. Every donation helps us stay independent. For breaking entertainment news, reviews, and more, check out MWPnews.com. If you love games, head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MWPNewsGaming for reviews and gameplay. Links for all of this will be in the show notes, as well as links to the other podcasts. Thank you for your continued support. Good morning and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. It is Friday, and I have seen Relay, which I don't know if it's the biggest movie opening this weekend. I can't imagine it is. What else is opening this weekend? I can't quite think about what else is coming out this weekend to be able to say, like, oh, this makes sense that this is the biggest release. What else even was there? Because there was Neja 2, which is a big Chinese release that A24 got, but, like, I don't think there's another big movie that was coming out this week. I think it's just dead, which is, I mean, I get it. It's the week before Labor Day, and isn't there a big release night? Oh, yeah, there's two big releases. There's The War of the Roses, or The Roses, because it's a remake of The War of the Roses, and there's Caught Stealing, the new Aronofsky movie. But I guess this week it's just nothing. And, you know, here we are. I thought Highest to Lowest was supposed to open, but that didn't happen. Either way, Relay is the movie we're here to talk about today. There was definitely another movie coming out this weekend. There's no way it's just this in a limited capacity, and there's no way. It just doesn't make sense that it's only this in a limited capacity and a niche, for American audiences, a niche, what's it called? A niche animated movie, like, widely released by A24. I don't buy that. Either way, we saw Relay, which I've seen a trailer for this once before. I forgot what movie it was, but it was something that piqued my interest because it looked like a thriller with Riz Ahmed using this relay service that I will assume exists to help deaf people communicate, but because it was created by the American with Disabilities Act, it is confidential. They don't keep records. They don't keep, there's no paper trail of what's talked about. There's no one who's working for this service is allowed to say what was talked about. It's pretty simple that way. So all of that is to say, it kind of piqued my interest. It's like he helps out people who are trying to return stolen documents, and people who are chickening out of whistleblowing. It's like, okay, that's an interesting idea, and let's see how this goes. And for what this movie is, it seems fairly grounded in reality. And there is a big twist in this movie. And right now I'm debating whether or not to talk about the twist in my head, because I feel like the twist is a big part of the movie, but at the same time I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, because I think this is definitely a movie worth watching. I love the aesthetic. They do a great job of building tension. The tension of the movie is probably its greatest strength, because you don't know, like, we have a clear sense of who the bad guys are. And then we also have a clear sense of who the, who the good guy is. It's Riz Ahmed and this girl he's helping. And it's this great, because we have that, it's like you don't know who else is working with them, what else is going to happen. I would have liked it better if we had, the movie's 2 hours long, which feels a little long for what this is. I would have rather we got a little bit more character exploration. Like, they kind of touch on it a little bit, with Riz Ahmed going to, Riz Ahmed going to, AA, and like, his relationship that he builds with this woman who's a police officer who is also in AA, and that's all interesting, and I think that they do a good job with that. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, a little bit more. Like, bake that a little bit longer. Don't just, throw it out and call it a day, which is kind of what ends up happening a little bit, is you end up with this thing that's kind of like, is it entirely done? Not really. But I think that, like, the thriller aspect of it, which is by far the most important part of the movie, is the idea that, like, what's it called? You're just, the secrecy and everything that goes into protecting her and everything like that is all really well done. Now, there are a few things that I think we are going to talk about the twist, because I think that there are some things that I want to address with the twist. But I think that, like, the casting is great. I think like, Lily James is great, and the thought I had while I'm watching this too is, like, it is astounding that, like, the Star Wars movie, for me, of the Disney era, that has produced the most stars, that I'm like, I will go see that movie because this person in it is Rogue One, because, like, I had very little desire to see, or interest really, in seeing Kiss of the Spider-Woman until I saw the trailer and I saw that Diego Luna's in it, and Diego Luna has quickly become one of my favorites. Who was the other one? Felicity Jones is another one, where it's like, I had no opinion on her before seeing Rogue One. Now, if she's in a movie, I'll show up. The same goes for, who's the other? I mean, Riz Ahmed, obviously. I enjoyed him here. I enjoyed him in what was that other movie that he got Sound of Metal? That one, he was really good in that. He had that short that was nominated for Best Original Short, or Best Live Action Short, I'm sorry. Like, he's someone I'll show up for as well. And obviously, Donnie Yen, because standout star of John Wick Chapter 4. But all of that said, and also, like, I think that, like, there's a nice little Victor Garber in the beginning, and I think he's got a very small role, but he's very interesting. All of that said, let's get into the spoiler territory, because I think that when you're going to have a movie like this that's going to have a major twist, we can't have a good faith discussion about the quality of the movie without discussing the twist itself. And in this case, what the twist is, and spoiler, the twist is, it turns out the whole time, Lily James, Sarah is her character's name, is working with the people who are trying to do it. Because the whole thing is, at the very beginning of the movie, we see the tail end of him, working on, what's it called? Like, the whole thing is he's working with this guy. Sorry, I was sending a text. Working with this guy who was trying to return documents to his pharmaceutical company because of all of that. And we get check-ins with this guy all through the movie. And they can't track where the guy went. They want to get to, they want to get to him so that way they can make sure that it doesn't happen. But at the end, in the beginning, it's all cleared up. He gets paid. They get the documents back to the CEO. All's copacetic. And then we, as the movie goes on, we have this new person. She is trying to get in touch with, because she stole documents from this other company, and she's trying to do that. So she ends up being put in contact with Riz Ahmed, and one thing leads to another, and there you go. There are some leaps in logic here that, knowing at the end that she is working full-time with and she's working for the company that was originally, you know, in the beginning of the movie. It does kind of, like, a good twist is something I should be able to, on a subsequent viewing, see coming. And we've seen movies where that's the case. We've seen a movie where, you know, you know, we have a twist about who the killer is, and there are hints all through it. Like, Knives Out does this masterfully. Both Knives Out movies. And that, like, it's something that we're you know, we should be, that's how you can tell a twist is good. Is that it's like, if I can see it coming, not me specifically, but if the audience can suss out where this is going, then that is a good twist. That is a twist that's well executed, because the audience shouldn't, I don't think it should be, in a well executed twist, one that's like completely out of left field that doesn't make sense. One of the things that bugged me is that it's like she's too good of an actress. Like, not Lily James as the actress, but Sarah the character is too good of an actress at playing scared. I don't think there's any like, there are sequences where she is in the same scene as the people who are there, and they're just kind of like, there's no indication. Like, I'm not saying you gotta be overt about it, but like, you would think there'd be like some hint that she knows who this is. Like, even things like, oh, well, they're still tracking her phone. It's like, how are you tracking her phone? And it's like, well, you chalk that up to just nonsense. And I guess that, like, that kind of makes sense. Like, that's probably the biggest hint that she's working with them, is the fact that they're still managing to track her phone. But if that was something that was outside the realm of possibility, you would think that Riz Ahmed would have caught on. And then the other thing is, like, you're putting her, like, this whole thing is very convoluted for what you're trying to do. If you're trying to just get him, you don't need to go through all these steps. You don't need to have her, you know, try to, you know, seduce him and all of that, which is, like, it's very light seduction. It's like a PG-13 seduction. It's not like they fuck or anything, but, like, it's all over the phone, and it's through this service. And I think that, like, if you're gonna have these two characters go after, what's it called, you know, these characters are going to try and get him, the thing that, in the setup of this movie, I find it unbelievable that they put her up in this hotel. Like, the plan is to put her up, or I don't know if I think it's a hotel that they have her staying in, and they track her there. And they're going through all of these lengths to track her. They're going all the way to, you know, they're going all the way to you know, to like Oklahoma, to California, to, like, they're going all over the place to track this guy down and figure out where he is and what he's doing. Yet at the same time, it's like, you mean to tell me that you're doing all of that? You're planting a camera in a post office in bumfuck Oklahoma. But you're not, you know, what's it called? You're not putting it in, like, you're not, you can't put a camera in the abandoned building behind you to make sure that, like, that's like setting it up 101 right there. It's like, you set up this building, and it's like, the whole thing is just absurd. Like, and it's like the lengths they go to make the website and all of that, and none of this is anything that he buys in. Like, the amount of background checking he does on this woman to get her to the point that he's willing to take her as a client, before even seeing, like, oh, she's single, oh, she's this. Like, he knows the social security number or the fake social security number. Like, they go through all of these lengths to do that, and it feels like, how? Considering, like, the movie makes it seem like it's like the next day after he has spoken to, after he has spoken to the guy who is, you know, trying to do the, who's with the pharmaceutical company. Like, all of that feels kind of weird. Like, and to have it be like she has to go through a law firm first. What was the game plan if they went to this law firm? The law firm was like, okay, great, we'll take it. And also, like, you mean to tell me that, like, it's a fake company? Like, this woman, like, that's the other confusion I have. Is it just, like, this mercenary, like, just so happens to look exactly like this PhD doctor who works at this other company? Like, is that what I'm supposed to do? And it's like, I don't necessarily, like, okay, fine, sure, but, like, it's a weird, like, there are a few weird leaps that you have to take to get through, like, oh, okay, and the whole time she was working for this pharmaceutical company that was trying to bring it home. Like, if that's the case, like, and also if that's the case, like, these people are taking a big gamble on, like, hey, we're going to try and make nice with him and like, and all of that, because, like, he starts to turn. Like, you're taking a huge risk that he's not going to try and talk Sarah into not doing it, and then if that happens, what happens then? What's the game plan from there? Like, it's just, there's so much in this movie that kind of just, like, baffles me. But, like, it's one of the things where, like, it only is because of the twist. If the movie just is him trying to work with this girl to, do that, and then they decide not to release the information, I think that would have been fine. But I think it's, like, because you have this twist, because you have this moment in the movie where it's like, oh, wait, everything that we've talked about is not real between these two characters. It does kind of throw everything into question from there on out. It's like, wait, why would you go through this? What's the point of, like, there's such a better way to do this, like. And again, this whole thing of, like, him trying to get caught, like, them trying to catch him, like, trying to seek him out specifically, this doesn't feel like a first movie thing. This feels like a sequel thing. Like, this seems like a plot line you'd have in a movie, like, down the line, where, like, we get the first movie where he helps out the girl, and they do that, and the girl goes off into the sunset, and he doesn't go with her, because that's not his lot. His lot is not to go with the girl. His lot is to help her do that. The second movie is him, do it, like, them trying to catch him specifically. Like, I think they handle it well for it being the first and hopefully only movie in this series, because I really don't want this to necessarily become a franchise. But, like, I think that was it's kind of a weird choice for this plot line to come this early. What else have I got that I want to talk about? But yeah, I mean, look, you set a movie in New York City, I'm there. I love the way they use weather, like, and even if it's not, like, it's not always sunny, it's like, it's rainy sometimes, it's dreary, like, all of that's fine. Like, I mean, I guess you could also say her being like, well, I feel safe now, I'm gonna go out and go for a walk. Like, I feel like that too is something that could be, that could be, weirdly, like, construed as, like, a hint that she's going to turn on him. But I don't know. There's so much in this movie that just kind of feels just a little off, that I'm like, what are we doing here? And I think that, like, what are we doing here is kind of my big question that I have in this movie. It's like, what was the, especially, and really it just comes down to the twist. I think had the twist not happened, I would have been a lot higher on this movie. I would still put this in the same category as something like Black Bag, where it's a solid, serious thriller, a movie for adults. And I think that, like, it's something where it's like, hey, you want to go and see a solid, like, thriller that's not horror, or you just, like a drama, this is a good movie for that this weekend. And I think they do a great job of that. We don't really get enough of these unless you're going in on the indie scene, which I guess Bleecker Street would kind of be considered that. And all things considered, it's like, it is a reasonably small cast. like, and it's very, like, I guess vibes oriented would be the right way to phrase it, because, like, when you watch it, you're not really dealing with, what's it called? You're not, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, Riz Ahmed doesn't talk for at least a half hour, if not longer, which should, I think, tell you a little something about what I'm trying to say. Like, it takes a long time for dialogue to happen, including Riz Ahmed. And it's a reasonably tight cast. You have Sam Worthington, Willa Fitzgerald, or Willa Fitzgerald. I keep thinking Willa Fitzholland, but that's Willa Holland and Willa Fitzgerald. Her, and Sam Worthington and the other two. You have the guy who I've seen in other things before, but whose name I'm forgetting, and what's his name, and then Victor Garber, and then you have like Riz Ahmed and Lily Jim. It's a very tight cast. And like, that's the thing with this movie, too, is that it's like, this is the second movie that we've done on the show in a row, because I would say the same thing happened last time with My Mother's Wedding, where it's like, this is the second movie in a row where it's a reasonably tight cast, and like, you can see this and be like, oh, this could have been done on a very low budget. You're shooting in New York City. If Riz Ahmed's on, you can do it for dirt cheap. And then you get to the shootout at the end, and then you got to blow the budget out because you need the armor, you need, the prop guns, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that last scene. You need to be able to use the, what's it called, the Newark Police Department has to provide cars and all of that. Like, that's the moment where the movie kind of blows out of proportion. And you're like, well, why was any of this necessary? Like, I don't think, like, even if you did it where it's like, and the way they shot that thing too, where it's like right before we get into that scene where they bring him in, like right before we get there, it's like you didn't think to like put hit, like, what was the game plan here? Like, what was I even going with that? It's such a weird choice that happens. Oh, that was it. The idea that, like, when you get to that moment where they're going to capture him, they're in that boardroom that they're operating out of, the bad guys, the evil boardroom of evilness, and they're having that conversation. And it's like, see, that's the thing, is that in that room, you could have had something there that alluded to the fact that it was, that this was not the company that they were. Either way, evil boardroom of evilness, they're having the conversation. I thought what it was a deep fake of her voice. That's what I thought it was, because you don't see her in that scene. And I was like, oh, well, clearly they don't actually have her. Like, that this is clearly, they're using deep fake technology. And I'm just like, either way, there's so much weird here that I'm like, I don't know why, like, what happened there. It's enjoyable, and I think that the movie does carry itself, and it is solid. I think that it's just the twist does kind of throw a wrench in the works, because I do think the twist does take away a little something from the end product. When you have a twist like that, it does pump the brakes on. What's it called? It does pump the brakes on what was otherwise a great narrative experience, because it's just the story of this guy and this girl trying to do that, to do this and then possibly reckon with, are we doing the right thing? Like, what I'm expecting is he has the conversation with the first guy, or he gets the message from the first guy, and then he goes to the AA meeting. I'm expecting him to go to her and be like, look, we can't do this. And I think that that's part of the problem, too, is that his character, like, I don't know, I can't definitively say that he learned something, or goes through an arc. It feels like he goes through an arc. But by the time we get to the end, like, obviously him hugging the police officer is meant to be him, I've learned to let people in. Obviously that's what that is. But I don't know that he has made an affirmative choice to release that, or if it's just the vindictiveness of, oh, well, I told you I was going to release this if you came after me. Fuck me, fuck you, I'm going to release this now. And I think that That's, I think, the big issue here. And I think that it's just kind of a corner you write yourself into when you get to the end of the movie, where it's like, okay, well, I can't not release this. Because if you don't release it, then here he is grappling with this, and it's like, and they came after him, and what's going on there? Like, it's a bad situation that they kind of wrote themselves into, unfortunately. But I would like to, this is a world that I would like to come back to. I kind of feel, after watching this, I kind of feel the same way I did after watching John Wick the first time, back 10 years ago. The idea that, like, I don't need to see this turn into a franchise, or I don't need to see this happen another 15 times, or like 3 more movies about it, or anything like that. Like, if another one came out, I would go see it. It would not be my priority one. It might be if the movie's good, but I would need to see some retread, some new ground to tread. I mean, not retread, some new ground to tread. And I don't know that you necessarily get that out of this franchise. It's the kind of, or this movie. There's room for it. I think that, like, in a world where he has learned, like, I think we need a sequel only to explain what he now does. And I think what he, like, or even like a scene at the end of the movie where it's like that scene of him on the train, coming down from Poughkeepsie, like, that scene should have been, like, what should have happened in that scene is he should have gone to the guy, said, look, we're releasing everything, you can keep the money, we're releasing everything. Like, that would have been a good, small moment to kind of solidify this character development, but that's missing. And then it's like, he gets back down. I think an interesting thing would have been him taking the next call and being like, we don't help you return things anymore, we will help you get it where it needs to go. Like, I think that would be a much more interesting thing to see come out. That's it. I can see this ending up like The Equalizer. But we'll wrap up there for today. We will be doing Alien Earth at some point. I have not started it yet. We will be doing Alien Earth at some point. And when that happens, we will have more specific information. Every week we'll be doing Peacemaker for its entire run. We did episode 1. That episode went up this morning, though really probably about 5 minutes before this one did. And then next week we have Caught Stealing Wednesday. And we have the new Aronofsky movie. And then on Friday we have The Roses, the remake of War of the Roses. We're getting into the fall, and we have a lot of festival movies starting to come up. If you want to help out, go to co-fi.com/MWP News. You can donate there. We're going to set up a goal for going to New York Film Festival and for Hampton Film Festival, which we'll probably still do realistically if we don't hit the goal, but it will help us out to defray some of the costs. But, it's a good way to help us out and show your support is to go on and donate there. And until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.